So I'm going to ask you to please follow, if you will, follow my presentation without any bias. So I don't have any expertise in AI, computer science, machine learning. My background, relevant background, is just by through immersion and extended use. So I started using LLM models when GPT-2 was out as part of one of my research NSF-funded research projects, and I have lived the exponential curve from GPT-2 to 3, 3.5, 4, and now 5. So that is what informs essentially my presentation. In full transparency, the research I did for this presentation, I used Grok Heavy, GPT-5 Pro, and Gemini Pro, and I used also AI to translate it in a language appropriate for this group. The case I am trying to make is that the narrative that is led mainly by elite institutions and billionaires around generalizing fear around AI is functionally oppressive. And the impact of that is it discourages the adoption of these tools by the populations that they can significantly benefit from that. I have my job independent of using AI or not. Half of my department, I'm from Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, they are proud colleagues, my colleagues, professors, that they don't have any AI account. And some they are proud that they have never touched it, and their job is safe and secure. So I have to be very careful about this position of privilege that I am in when I talk about AI and cast broad definitions that AI is biased or AI is like this, and so because this may discourage certain populations that can benefit from that. However, I have to be very clear that I'm not suggesting that there are no risks, that AI doesn't have any biases. What I am calling fearmongering is speculative ideas about, oh, AI is going to replace us, AI is going to destroy us, the world is going to, environmental impact of that, magnification of that, or some kind of speculative ideas about like the energy consumption and things like that, and sweeping judgments about AI. That's what I call fearmongering. So, as I mentioned, we had this, I think it's now 2 years ago, that there was a letter that was signed by I don't know how many billionaires that we have to delay the release of these models. And Elon Musk had a very big role in leading that movement, essentially, to delay the release of this model 6 months. And again, like a lot of academicians went behind that, signed that letter, and then later on, people realized that, okay, he wanted to buy some time to establish XAI, secure the funding and computational resources to be able to catch up with the competition. So we have to be very, very careful not immediately jump on those kind of like, again, there is always some underlying agenda behind those orchestrated fear-mongerings that we hear. It can be extremely harmful to vulnerable populations. Again, like I may say, well, I don't care, I care. It may make me pause for 5 minutes, but a middle school kid from Africa, let's call it, hearing something like that may never touch AI. For example, even in an affluent community in Mansfield here, where we are, my daughter, she's a sophomore in Mansfield Middle School. She's now in in high school is very hesitant to use AI because of like all of the concern that the teachers they have brought up. So again, we are talking about this affluent community. And sorry, I have to check my notes. And this anxiety obviously translates into lower usage and lower rate of adoption. So the data says something very interesting. Again, like if we just follow the news in US and US-centric kind of like news and Western-centric news, we think that every country is as worried about AI as we are. That is not the case. Actually, a lot of kind of countries, communities, surprisingly, actually, communities with low access that they are receiving some AI kind of generated text through SMS, through text in Africa. They are embracing it. They're trying to kind of use it to upskill themselves, to learn things, and they are benefiting from that on a daily basis. And again, there are larger scale studies, surveys that they clearly show that. And it's interesting that, like, again, if you follow the English-centric kind of news outlets, we think that everyone is as concerned about AI and the future of AI as we are. That's not the case. So we have to be mindful of that. And why I say that fear-mongering may discourage disproportionately. Again, it is totally fine to talk about like the challenges with AI in groups like this. I mean, that's what we do. As scholars, we dissect something, we put it back together. That's what we do. But when I go out and, for example, imagine I talk to high school students, I have to be a little more aware of the position of privilege that I am in when I present my case, because it may have unintended impacts on communities that are vulnerable. Communities that are vulnerable, I mean, like, this is something, how am I doing in terms of time? Good? So I'm going to tell you one story. As part of my, one of my research projects that was more related to engineering, we were doing some outreach activities, going to different middle schools. We went to Mansfield Middle School. We had like handheld microscopes, like $12 microscope we gave them, and then they took it home. So we set it up, put it on the tables. Students came in the room, and they just started opening the box, playing with it, and then we started the conversation. That's okay. These are the samples you want to try. These are the ways you can kind of like magnify or things like that. So, and 2 weeks later, we went to Bridgeport. The same thing, the same setup. We started the session, and again, they were sitting all like this, and students. And then I invited them, okay, take it out of the box. And they were so hesitant to touch this. It's a $12 microscope, with the fear of like, oh, what if something goes wrong with it? I mean, like, so we have to be very, very careful that like a message around the same tool may land completely different way, depending how vulnerable that population, that community, that person feels. I mean, what's the margin of error that I have? I mean, like how much I can kind of like, if I don't have kind of layers of safety, I become very conservative. And if you fearmonger on something, I'm not going to touch it because I don't have much, again, system. I'm not sure that the system is going to protect me if something goes wrong in that situation. And again, there is data that the chilling effect, discouraging people to learn certain things, that's very important, and we have seen that actually over and over. And unfortunately, Anka briefly mentioned that may lead to a second digital divide, actually. if we continue doing what we are doing in academia. What we are doing in academia, most of, again, I follow a lot of kind of news outlets around AI. It's majority negative, majority around problems, challenges, bias, risk. I mean, like, and again, for internal consumption, that's important, but when we go out, we have to maybe adjust the tone a little bit appropriately. So that brief formula at the end, that like if we have this, continue doing this fear campaign, plus the structural vulnerabilities that we have built in our society and globally, it can lead to some psychological permission collapse that is, again, unintended, but it can lead to a major problem of digital divide. And it's important because we are talking about drastically putting the next generation of our students at disadvantage if we discourage them not to use AI. I just want to, again, for the sake of time, I just want to pay attention to the third part. This data is very recent, that 66% of hiring leaders, actually, they are reluctant to hire someone which has no experience with AI. And 71% prefer less experienced people with some AI background compared to more experienced people. This is how important it is. So it's not about like, if I'm going to be more productive or more creative. It's, am I going to be able to find a job after graduation, after finishing high school, if I remain AI illiterate? And I bring it back home and talk about now connected to AI literacy. I think our approach should be safety without exclusion. Definitely that's the way to approach AI literacy. And I'm going to go as far as suggesting that AI literacy should be a civil right. We have to advocate for that as a civil right. This should be a very basic right for all individuals. And we have to, my colleagues actually from Robotech mentioned that low resource models, they are very important when we talk about low bandwidth, like internet access. Again, they are creative. They are even using basic communication tools like SMS, but still, like, we have to be very careful. These heavy models that they require a lot of bandwidth may not be as accessible. So I'm gonna stop here. I hope I'm doing good with time. And I have to tell you that I intentionally try to maybe go a little to the extreme on fear-mongering the opposite way, but I definitely have a case here to make, and I did it intentionally because I wanted to balance out the conversation here. So I look forward to the rest of the day. Thank you.